Hi, everyone. I'm Stan Mallow. Welcome to Paranormal Yacker. My guest in today's show is paranormal researcher and skilled outdoorsman Mike Dupler. I'll be yakking with him about his book, On the Trail of Bigfoot, Tracking the Enigma Giants of the Forest. Mike Dupler, welcome to Paranormal Yacker.
Thank you for having me today.
Great. I very much look forward to this. Now, Mike, you have been investigating the Bigfoot phenomena for many years and have, in fact, had personal encounters with these mysterious creatures. What sparked your interest originally in wanting to search for Bigfoot and prove that it does indeed exist?
I actually started out hunting ghosts, watching ghost hunters on TV, and I figured I could do something like that. I was in Oregon with my daughter. We were there to investigate the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, and we had rented a cabin in a state park that was halfway between Portland and the ocean. So one morning we got up, we decided we'd drive to the ocean and spend the day. And we were driving back roads heading towards the interstate, and in the distance in a field, I saw these trees stuck in the ground upside down. Now, I had seen a documentary called Myths and Monsters of Alaska, where one of the segments was on Prince of Wales Island off the coast of British Columbia. The inhabitants have a story of the hairy man who took blown down trees and stick them in the ground upside down as a territory marker. So this really piqued my interest. I'm not saying that Bigfoot did the ones in Oregon, but it was enough to get me interested in the subject. And once I got back to Ohio, I began investigating.
Great. Now, do you recall when you first encountered a Bigfoot, where you were, the circumstances involved, and what your reaction was when you saw it?
I've only seen one briefly. The encounters I've had have actually been audio. My sister and I were at Salt Fork State Park in eastern Ohio, which according to the internet was the hotspot for Bigfoot in Ohio. We were walking a trail, and in the brush beside us, we heard a turkey squawking. And we were walking along, and it seemed like this turkey was walking parallel to us. And as we walked along with this turkey squawking, we heard this growl that sounded like mixed between Godzilla and a freight train. And I knew that there was nothing in the Ohio woods that could possibly make that noise. So we determined that this could possibly be a Bigfoot, and we're interrupting its hunt.
Creatures resembling Bigfoot, who, as you know, is also called by other names such as Sasquatch, have been reported seen not only in North America, but around the world. While the names may differ, how they are described seems to be pretty much the same. What are these common features and characteristics?
You have the Yeren in China, which is basically the same description as a Bigfoot, possibly with a different coloration. They're more of a reddish type color. You have the Yowie in Australia, which is thought to resemble a Bigfoot type creature. Some thinks it's a very large marsupial, but that remains to be seen. And there's stories of Bigfoot type creatures in England also, and in Ireland. I belong to several Facebook groups concerning Sasquatch and cryptids, and there are Facebook groups from these areas describing encounters with these creatures clear over in Europe.
Now, in your research for Bigfoots, you discovered stick structures as well as teepee structures, and you attribute the building of them to the Bigfoots. What purpose, in your opinion, did they serve?
The first structure that we found was on top of a hill at Salt Fork State Park, and it was a structure that had no root base. There was not natural tree fall. So it was obviously placed there by something that had hands. Now, I took pictures of it, and over a period of time, going back every month or couple months or so, taking pictures, I noticed that the structure has changed. Subtle changes have been made to this, like items were added, items were removed, that type of thing. And it brought me to a conclusion that this could very well be a form of communication, like a Bigfoot billboard. Being so scattered, if you have such a structure in a strategic location, traveling Bigfoots or possibly other family groups in the area could look at this and ascertain information from this. And you change the structure, you change the message.
Right. Now, Native Americans attribute supernatural and mystical powers to Bigfoot creatures. You believe they may be right. Why do you believe they may be right? And what are these powers that Native Americans attribute to them?
I believe that the Native American stories were part of superstition because they are so elusive and so stealthy in the woods that they create stories to explain this. But I think there are some aspects to Bigfoot that we don't understand. There are some who have encountered what's called mind speak. Being close to Bigfoot, they can actually get like a mental message from these creatures. I never have, but then I'm not sensitive to ghosts or anything like that. And it could be possible that these people are more sensitive to that type of thing than I am. The Survivor Man, if anybody knows who that is, in his Bigfoot series, has actually encountered mind speak in his travels.
Do Bigfoot or Sasquatch type creatures have amongst themselves some sort of social order? And if they do, how does it work?
The primary idea is that they travel in family groups, probably a male and a female, and possibly one or two or three young. And these family groups, have territories, and they, like I said, they could probably communicate through different structures.
The Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is believed to be the location of an interdimensional portal, and there have been reports of a Bigfoot type creature coming out of this portal. In your research of the ranch, have you come up with a probable cause as to why so much paranormal activity takes place there?
I actually drew conclusions that there's a similarity between the Skinwalker Ranch and what happened at the Bell Witch Cave many, many years ago. There are similarities, UFOs, items missing, strange animals, that type of thing. So it could be portal activity. These things are coming through other dimensions or something along those lines.
Yeah, obviously something is going on at that ranch, and maybe one day we'll know the true whatever to it, but it's fascinating. Now, you mentioned before about a hotspot, Bigfoot hotspot. Are there other areas where these mysterious creatures have been reported being seen more than other areas? If so, where are these hotspots located?
Of the states reporting Bigfoot activity, Ohio is number 5 in the country, believe it or not. It's right behind the Pacific Northwest. And correlations have been made between Bigfoot sightings and bear populations. It seems like bear populations and Bigfoot inhabit pretty much the same areas, and it could very well be because food resources.
That's fascinating. Now, it seems Bigfoot creatures are avoiding contact with humans because they've been hunted and abused by them, which is understandable. What do you recommend us humans can do that will help make them not fear us as much as they do, and hopefully one day feel comfortable enough to reach out and communicate with us?
Well, when I go into an active area or Bigfoot woods, I go in quiet, I go in unarmed, I go in peacefully and respectfully. I don't go in, I don't tree knock when I go in. I don't howl, I don't hoop or anything like that, because I don't think that is natural. And another thing is, we don't know the context of these communications. We could be giving them a mating call or something, you know.
You don't want to do that, dude.
Yeah, be respectful and don't encroach. Stay on your trail, which I consider to be the human area, and just act like you would want to be treated.
That's good advice. Now, my next question, you sort of covered it with this one, but maybe we'll elaborate a little bit. If anyone wants to investigate the existence of Bigfoot on their own, and I got a feeling if they're reading your book, a lot of people out there will be curious and would want to do that. What advice would you give that person both before and during their search?
Do your research, find areas that seem to be active with Bigfoot. And like I said, go in quiet, go in respectful. One thing that I do is I travel old country roads, dirt roads, that type of thing in the country, looking for bent trees, because usually if you see bent trees, they're usually associated with stick structures. If you find a stick structure, there are usually more. And if there's stick structures there, there's usually Bigfoots not far behind. And you look for tracks and that type of thing. But like I said, be respectful and don't be quiet. Let them know you're there. Well, they know you're there. But like I said, act like you got some sense.
Beautiful advice. Now, should viewers of Paranormal Yacker want to order your book on the Trail of Bigfoot, how do they go about doing that?
How did they do what? I'm sorry.
How do they order it? Go about ordering it, buying it?
Oh, okay. It's available on Amazon. It's available through Barnes and Noble, and it's available online on IndieBound.
Great. Mike Dupler, I thank you for being my guest on Paranormal Yacker. I wish you much success with your book. Thank you. It's been a great interview. Hi, everyone. I'm Stan Mallow, the Paranormal Yacker. I hope you enjoyed the interview you just watched. To be sure you don't miss any interviews on my free YouTube channel, all you have to do is press the subscribe button on your screen.